I'm sure it was hard trying to raise two kids at 19. Pick up a couple shifts, go ahead and forget your dreams. And they've done pretty good to answer every question I've had. But there's just some things I'll never quite understand. How'd you learn to smile when the
And good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Orange Blossom Social. I am your humble correspondent, Bobby Randall. Good morning, and Dangerous Dave, everybody. And, of course, Captain Kurt's up here, producer. And Fast Eddie's with us. Good morning, Eddie.
Morning.
How you doing today?
Doing good.
All right, always good to be here.
Stressed out because I couldn't find a precinct to vote.
Yeah, you know,
they decide they want to change the precincts to confuse you.
Well, you got all day to vote. I'm not registered. My buddy Mike said you need to vote today, which I would, but I'm not registered to vote in Florida yet. I'm still registered to vote in Michigan, so no voting for me today. But there's nothing going on in Michigan, Wisconsin, right?
Correct.
Wisconsin and Florida today, right?
That is correct.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we don't care how you vote, just vote.
Yes.
Actually, we do care, but we're not allowed to mention that. But anyway, what a great weekend at the Orange Blossom Opry. Again, this weekend we had Gary Puckett and the Union Gap was here. And
those guys are amazing. They really sound great.
Yeah, and what a swell fella he is.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just the nicest guy. I mean, he's a pretty big.
Of course, he almost gave me a heart attack when he walked out here for sound check.
Oh, yeah.
And he was carrying that old gold top guitar. I was like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, I got to ask him about that.
Yeah, 52, right?
We got in the back. I said, so what year's that guitar? He's like, 1952. I was like,
yeah.
That's a 52 Les Paul.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah, worth a little bit of money there.
Just a little bit.
And but he's just such a nice guy.
Yeah, he's like, here, play it.
He knows I struggle with my hands, have trouble. He said, well, I had trouble with my hands and blah, blah, blah. Here, and comes back and says, here's a guy to call, but it's in Clearwater. So I don't know. I think I'll just keep going down to the vet. Local vet's been good. Yeah, they just give me a shot and a bone and say, here you go. Well, anyway,
I don't know many animals that have fingers, so the vet might not be the best choice.
Well, the vet was out giving a horse the shot for the same thing I get it for. So I just give me a little of that. Gary Puckett was awesome. Dr. Carl was here again for the John Denver show. Y'all, anybody at the John Denver show? You know, he's so good. It's just he's got that down. He doesn't fake trying to sound like John Denver, because if he sang a George Strait song, he still sounds like John Denver.
Right.
He just sounds like John Denver.
I was amazed at how many people brand new people showed up for, especially the second show.
Yeah, the place was packed with a bunch of folks we'd never seen before. So
Yeah, it was really cool.
don't forget there on Facebook, everyone, we're always open for questions. Same goes here in the auditorium. If you have any questions, just simply raise your hand and Mike will show up and we can chat, because we'd rather chat with you than us just sit up here and spin circles and blah, 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 and talk all day. I thought it was good.
Don't forget what happened Friday night, too.
And we had our first Friday Night Live, and it was sold out. Lots of fun that was. We don't have it. When's the next one, in May or April?
In April, yeah, we do have one in April.
We have one in April. That was always fun. Those were a blast. It's the first time we had to play that long, though. Usually we just go out and play for about 35 minutes, and we're up there playing all night going, okay, I'm standing
Well, what was
up.
fun is we pulled out a bunch of songs we haven't done in like a year.
Yep.
It was really cool getting to pull out a bunch of the older material and I think the fans really liked it.
Well, that's what we try to do is, because when I'm making up the set list, I forget about stuff, and we all forget about stuff, and then so Dougie has it on his computer. We can go back on his computer and look back and see some of the songs. So we tried to go back and do some of the songs that we worked up and forgot, and then we started playing and then still forgot. But it was lots of fun. And how about I don't know if everybody was at that showcase, but that girl, you know her name, Captain?
Emma.
Emma's really, really good. When we were doing the showcase last year, I don't pay a lot of attention to that. I pay more attention to what I'm doing, playing, because they're just singing, and not that they're just singing, but they're singing. But when Ty Love got up there and sang last year, I kind of went, oh, wait a minute now, we got something going on here. And I feel the same way about her. First time she sang, I went, hey, wait a second here, this girl's got some stuff going on. She's really, really good. So we'll see. We have nothing to do with that. But she's only like 21 or 22, right?
Yeah, 21, I believe.
Just a kid. Yeah, I mean, Eddie spent more time in prison than that.
You said that about me when I first got here.
Yeah.
He's got something going on, but it's just contagious. Don't get too close.
Yeah, she said, you've got something going on? Yeah. Well, anyway, I wish her the best of luck. She was awesome. We have birthdays today, April Fool's Day. April Fool's, I used to do a radio show in the morning. Imagine that. And so it was April Fool's Day. So I disguised my voice and called up my cousin. My cousin's got a blacktop. It did have a blacktop company. They've now retired and sold it. And her birthday is April Fool's Day. So I called her up and disguised my voice and was asking all the blacktop questions for stuff. And what I was wanting to know about was how deep it'd have to be to cover up bodies. And so I'm kind of going around that corner, and can you see things out of there? No. How much do I need to put? And she's doing all that. She never knew it was me. And then I finally said, well, I just, if there's something underneath there, will people be able to see that? And I was trying to be real sneaky about it anyway. So happy birthday to her. It's my cousin Lori. Mitchell, if you're watching, it's your mom's birthday today. So tell your mama we said happy birthday. Billy Dean's birthday today, and Buddy Jewell. Buddy Jewell sent me a message the other day. He is a swell fella, and I hope we have him back this year sometime. Great
That'd
guy.
be cool. Yeah,
Emmylou Harris. Everybody says my wife looks like Emmylou Harris. Emmylou Harris is 100.
I think it's the hair more than anything.
106. She's 100 years old. She's 78 years old. I don't think my wife, but is it the hair?
I think it's the hair, yeah, because of the kind of platinum gray.
Yeah,
silver.
my wife's got a whole face, but my wife's hair's gray, but a little bit white in the front. She lets it go natural. I think it's beautiful. I think she's beautiful, but I think I don't have to say this. My wife is, I think, prettier than Emmylou Harris. That's my 2 cents worth. But look up the pictures and judge for yourself. We report, you decide. How about that? Steve Gatlin's 74.
On April 4th. That's not exactly
that's a few
today,
days
but
from
yeah.
now. And Pat Green's 54. We should do that song, that Pat Green song. Did you ever do that, Wave on Wave?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I've done
Did
a
you
bunch of
sing
Pat
it?
Green. No, I've only ever played it.
Yeah, I always liked that song. And Merle Haggard would have been 93 years old on April 6th. Merle Haggard died on his birthday, too. Did you know that? Born on
Yep.
Yeah, died on his birthday. I guess that's a way to go out. So I'm going to die on my birthday. Anyway, we haven't had Billy Dean here in a while. Billy Dean should come. I met my wife at the Billy Dean concert. When he was here, she had never been to the Orange Blossom Opry before. So she came to the Orange Blossom Opry, and you know how everybody gathers over there to meet the stars. And, oh, God, I want to go. And so her daughter was with her and said, you want to go meet Billy Dean? She goes, no, I want to go meet him. So I always, I told Billy, he's the reason I found Sandy, thanks to Billy Dean, I guess. All right, Rising Star this Thursday. I don't know any of these people. Do you know any of these people?
I know Noah, the runner-up from last week. He does a lot of the local bluegrass stuff.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Logan Leadbeater Better.
Ledbetter, I think, is what it's supposed to be, but it's
That's
spelled Leadbeater.
That's Beater. Boy, don't you know that'd be a tough name in the 6th grade. Have Leadbeater. Okay. What do you think we should do? Well, I don't know. Have Leadbeater. Okay. Yeah, I can't pronounce that other one either.
Aquila Entine.
Is that right?
Etinine. Etienne.
Yeah.
There's no way Neil's getting that straight.
No.
Right.
Not
Neil will
in a
never get
million
that right.
years.
And then Wyatt Shane, that's a person with 2 first names.
Yeah.
And then Sydney Rafferty. Oh, like Jerry Rafferty. Were you
And
Jerry
see, Emma Lane is the name of the girl that won last week.
Yeah, Emma, I got to remember that. Y'all remember Emma, man? She's really good. I look for good things to come from her, if that's what she wants to do. Ty loves setting the world on fire. He's opening for
Clint Black.
Clint Black, and he's been up running around the country, opened for Larry Gatlin not too long ago. And
He's doing well.
Doing really well. Did we see, excuse me, did we see, what's her name? Why can't I think of her name? The girl we're going to record.
Oh, Chloe.
Chloe.
Grace.
Is Chloe in here?
I don't know if she's in the contest this year or not, but I know that the one of the songs that we recorded with Chloe Grace
Yes.
last year went viral on TikTok. It has over 1 million views on TikTok.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Her song Forever 13.
Yep. Well, we've played on all of her. Say what?
We have no idea who's in the contest, when they're appearing, who's doing what.
top
until
secret.
the week of.
Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah,
anything.
till they get here, and we still don't know what songs we're playing because I don't have the charts yet.
No, you should. You should.
Imagine
I talked to Neil yesterday. On Mondays, a little busy day for me, but Mondays I went through all the songs, so you should give them to them.
I personally have to send a big thank you out to Neil and Jenny. Neil and Jenny Bogus, they
Paved the way.
they got us into Disney yesterday with my son. My son's in town for spring break, and we took Davey down to Magic Kingdom. He had never been.
Now, did Neil and Jenny have to go with you?
Well, they went with us. And we rode quite a few rides all together. It was kind of fun.
Were the rides a short wait? Because the last time I went to Disney, they got these signs that when you get in line there, it tells you when you are, how far before you're going to be in there, how many, and you get in line and it says 2 days, and then it gets down
It actually was pretty good yesterday because it wasn't super crowded. The longest wait we had was 40 minutes.
Well, that's not bad.
And that was at that new Tiana's Bayou, what used to be Splash Mountain. But
oh yeah.
And just real quick, the most interesting thing, that there was a family behind us. It was a husband and wife and their 3 kids, 2 boys and a little girl, and they were from Israel.
Yeah.
And the little girl, Charlene, it almost broke Charlene's heart. The little girl was teasing her brother by making this sound, and evidently it's the same sound as the air raid sirens
Oh man.
that they have, and it was scaring her brother, because the little girl was 4 and or was 5 and the little boy was 6. I don't know exactly what the sound was, but she was doing it, and he kept telling her, "Stop it, stop it, stop it." And Charlene's like, "Well, what is that?" And the lady said, "Well, that's the sound of the air raid sirens."
Yeah, nice girl.
Yeah, well, the little girl, she was a pipsqueak, boy. She was a handful.
I've not heard that term pipsqueak in a while, but I sure like it.
I would have said, here, did you meet Neil?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Well,
no.
Neil and Jenny didn't go on that ride with us, so.
Did you go on Pirates of the Caribbean? That's always my favorite ride.
We didn't. We were in line for it, and it was towards the end of the day, and Davey wanted to see the fireworks in front of the castle. So I said, well, if we're going to get a good seat in front of the castle, we need to go now. And so he's like, so we actually got out of line for Pirates to go. But
I always like that thing.
we rode Tron, and we rode what's the one in the dark?
Space Mountain.
Space Mountain. We rode Space Mountain.
Do they still have the haunted house?
Oh yeah, we rode that one too.
Yeah.
The Haunted Mansion, yeah.
Does Randy have something to do with it?
Randy did a bunch of voiceovers for that, and I was listening for him. I don't think he does the main voice, but I think he does some of the voices in the background.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because I thought I heard him a couple of times, but I'm not positive.
Yeah, he does that voice. Keep your hands inside the rail. I don't have that voice. I do have this voice, though. So there's Elizabeth Golden. That's who I wanted to say. Elizabeth Golden is a princess over there, works in the park, and she'll be here at our gospel show.
Yeah.
Her and Chris, when it gets a little closer to it, we'll call them. Chris Golden will be here, and Elizabeth is coming as well. And that's always a pleasure. I think that show's pretty close to being sold out. But when they said that we're going to do a gospel show, I said, I know 2 gospel songs. One of them I wrote. And so we better call in reinforcements. So we have Chris Golden coming. That'll be awesome. This weekend, Daly and Vincent will be here on Friday the 4th. Pretty awesome. I have a message to give to Darren. Rhonda told me that some guy came up to her and said, "I love your dad's TV show," and it's not her dad; it's her brother. So I'm supposed to. She said, I never told him that. I said, well, she said, you tell him. I said, well, yeah, that'll go over good. But they will be here. They're awesome. What's that guy's name, too? Golly, I can't think of his name. Captain, you could figure it out, but is the bass singer. He was here with the Goldens. Aaron is his name. Aaron something, not Rogers, but Aaron something, like a big-time bass singer. Maybe he'll come out and sing Elvira with us. We'll get on.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah, he's got that big voice. He was here with the Goldens. He works kind of with a bunch of those guys. Anyway, they'll be here. The $1 Million Reunion will also be here on the 5th. That's this Saturday. What's the story with that? We always got to get an extra piano because that one dude wants to jump on the piano. Yeah, why doesn't he bring his own piano if he wants to jump on it? That's what I would say. You want to jump on the piano? Bring your own damn piano.
They're cumbersome to transport.
They're what?
Cumbersome to transport.
Cumbersome. Well, then don't jump on the piano. That's.
Jason D. Williams brought his own piano, so
yeah,
he could
Jason
jump on
D.
it.
Williams jumped on it, laid on it, did all kinds of stuff. He brought his own. What if they tear it up? They say here. Well, yeah. But anyway, they'll be here. 2 shows, and they do all kinds of stuff, right? They do Johnny Cash and.
Well, it's the $1 Million Quartet.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
As Johnny Cash, Carl Perkins, Jerry Lee Lewis, and
John Hood.
and who? Yeah. Elvis. Never heard of him.
Elvis too. Well, why did they call it the $1 Million? Are those guys all Sun Records guys?
Yeah.
That's what it's got to be, right? That's the connection, because Elvis was bigger than all those guys.
We have a comment from the Peanut Gallery.
Name and where you're from.
Terry Bertram, St. Louis.
Hey, Terry.
Hey, it was the only time the 4 of them were ever in the recording studio together.
Oh, they were?
Yeah.
So they did something in the studio together? I got it. That's why they were called the $1 Million Quartet, back in the back there. All right. Well, yes, sir.
Good morning to the three of you. And we'd like to mention that we're from On Top of the World, Nancy and I. And we watched the Sawyer Brown documentary film.
Oh, you did?
And I think you should mention it again because it was first class.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
thank
and
you.
you did a great job on it.
I just sit there and answered questions, but they put a bunch of video and stuff. I was surprised. You know, I've been out of that band 25 years, I think, something like that. And so I thought when they were going to do it, I thought, well, they'll just, mention me a little bit and away they go. But they did. They were very, very gracious.
They just needed some star power.
Yeah, they needed some.
Fill in time.
Need a little star power in there. No, they were awesome. Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate that. That was
that was a great documentary. Charlene and I watched it, and we really enjoyed it.
yeah, pretty fun. It seems like, and I don't know why it's been in the last year, whether it's the documentary or what, but on my Facebook and on all these things, all this old Sawyer Brown stuff's coming up. Even stuff from Dick Clark show when we were on American Bandstand. All this stuff keeps coming up on my Facebook, so I kind of share it. Pretty cool.
You know, she's not here, but we do have to give Heather a shout out because she is running our social media.
Oh,
out
she
there.
is? Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
so,
where are
and
they
I
at?
wanted to remind people that if you have any questions on Facebook, send them on in. That we do take questions over Facebook and
Yep.
or YouTube.
Now, where's Heather this week? In
Speaking of-
Belize? Is she in Belize or in Paris this weekend? Because you never know what third. She's the vacation queen here of the Orange.
We have
Blossom.
an internet question.
Well, speaking of Facebook, this is a PSA, public service announcement for
Yes.
those that don't know. The band will never send you a friend request or ask for money or sell you a T-shirt without speaking to you directly.
Uh-oh.
So if you are receiving friend requests from band members, it is not our band.
And don't worry, if I'm going to borrow $20, I'm going to come up and say, "Hey, let me $20."
Yeah. Well, but we'll hit it from Mike. He's loaded.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's hit Mike up for money.
We got another one out here, Bobby.
Yes, sir.
I'm curious about Keith. When he sings in between his verses, etc., he chews on something. What is he chewing on?
It's a mild laxative.
Yeah. Yeah. You ever? What's that the cows chew on? Cud.
Cud.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's-
Yeah.
No. Keith is a gum chewer. He always has been.
Yeah.
I
A
mean,
lot of
like-
guys are, and a lot of guys are. I did that for a while, and but I have bitten is the correct word, my tongue and the side of my face a few times. So I don't
See,
do
I'm
that.
a hard candy guy. I prefer
That's
the
what
hard
I am.
candy.
Me too.
Because you want to keep your mouth moist
Yep.
because if you're singing and you don't have water or something, your mouth dries out and
Yeah. So you know who? Well, Charlie Daniels was the big gum chewer. It was like, and my mom was. I must be old school because I had all these rules that I grew up with. No elbows on the table. You never put your elbows on the table. All this stuff. And one thing was you never, ate your food with your mouth open. Never smacked your food. You chewed with your mouth shut. And gum, same way. And it's just not fun chewing gum with your mouth closed, and you look stupid. So you got to get. Charlie Daniels was just he used to rip it.
I have a question for Eddie. He seems to know an awful lot about the history of music and the people involved with it. Can you tell us when you first started getting interested in that?
Oh, Beatles, 64 with the Ed Sullivan show. Yeah, and what happened is I thought about being a musician. We took a couple guitar lessons and realized I'm not that dedicated. The instructor said, if you're not going to practice, I'm not teaching anymore. It was a good instructor. It was somebody like Dougie who really, really knows and takes it pretty serious. And I just won a contest at a skating rink to be a disc jockey, and I was shy, insecure, imagine that. And afraid to talk on a mic, and I won it for some crazy reason, kind of like our popularity contest here on Thursdays. We luckily had some friends that showed up, and I won it by 4 votes, and from then I was unleashed. I started doing mobile disc jockeying, and then I became the go-to guy for all these radio stations. They would I didn't want to be in front of a wall talking to people. I tried that. That wasn't me. but I needed to be out in front of people and reading. So I put myself into many different kind of shows, from big band shows to, and I worked with a doo-wop band, which was kind of like a Shine on Nothing, which taught me the band side of that. So that was pretty cool. So that's where, and my passion of music. If anybody knows me, if you talk to me, everything's music.
Well, wouldn't you have to say, though, that your education, all the knowledge that you learned was when you were the librarian in the music hall in prison?
Yeah, in prison.
Wouldn't you say that was, I mean, you had a lot of time to read.
I will work for music. That's
What about a question out there on Facebook?
Well, we've heard from Keith. Evidently Keith is watching
Oh,
this
no.
morning, and he said to let you know that the bass player from Little River Band chews gum also, so that maybe there's a correlation there. But if anybody is paying attention, that Trident is the gum of choice, and specifically, did you say spearmint? Was it?
He's weird. It's either spearmint or mint, but it's one or the other. He likes
The mint Trident. Just hint. You know.
Yeah, that's funny. All right.
So
we have another question in-house down here. Kurt, did we have any questions online, or was it just Keith's comments?
Well, there's also the question of what candy did Bobby used to chew when he was on with Sawyer Brown? Somebody said it was Red Hots.
Yeah, it's kind of changed over the years. Right now, I'm a Werther's guy, and there's enough Werther's back there to start a small candy store and Pop-Tarts. But I guess you always kind of do that. Like you said, you need to keep your mouth so you don't want to get dry mouth and be up there trying to sing, like that. Yes, ma'am. You got to say your name and where you're from and speak right in that mic.
Okay, I'm Pam Vorpagel. I'm from the Villages.
No, you're not. Nobody's from the Villages. Where are you really from?
Originally Wisconsin, but now we're here full time.
Wisconsin,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
My question is, are there going to be any additional Friday night shows with the house band? Because it seems like they're getting fewer and far between, and I would love to see more of them.
Well, we have good news for you, because starting April 25th, we're going back to the band Friday Night Lives every Friday.
Yeah, we love that too.
Starting April 25th.
We love it too.
Yeah, through the season, which is what, it's winter, but it doesn't feel like winter. But our season, we bring in all these outside guests and different national acts, and we generally do one Friday night a month. And then, but when all that's over, like Dangerous said, we'll be playing every Friday night starting in May.
And then starting in May also, we're going to be doing alternating Classic Country Thursdays.
Yeah, so we'll do that Classic Thursday. All right, question on Facebook.
The question is from Kathleen, and the question is, one of our favorite songs is Trashy Women. You don't perform it often. Is it true that Sandy really hates it?
I have an idea. We could substitute that with another song, right? We'll play Trashy Women instead of...
No, we just joke about it. Sandy doesn't have an opinion either way. Well, we play it a little bit, I guess. I guess I could play it more. I mean, it's not everybody's cup of tea. I always tell the joke of calling my mom and saying, "Mom, I'm in a band and we got a song on the radio." And she says, "Oh, great, Bobby. I can't wait to tell the ladies at church."
We've talked about...
What's the name of it?
On Friday nights, for Friday Night Live, we've talked about the possibility of doing a night of music just from artists that we've performed with. Doing some Sawyer Brown and Confederate Railroad, and then Keith's been in Lone Star, Sons of the Desert. He played for Luke Bryan, Waylon Jennings. Chris was in Ty Herndon's band, and he played in Ricochet.
Yep.
The problem is that most of the artists that I've performed with that had charted singles were female.
Oh, God. Well,
So I played for Julie Reeves, and but I did play for Cletus T. Judd. We could do some Cletus T.
do
Judd.
some Cletus T.
That'll
I
work.
got Leroy Van Dyke in there, Charlie Rich.
But
Get
I
in
think that'd
there.
be awesome to do a
Bunch of
night of nothing but songs from bands that
Yeah,
we've
maybe
actually
we'll see if-
performed for. We'll have to do some Backstreet Boys for Randy, though.
Oh, golly.
Tiny Tim.
Bobby.
Golly.
And Dougie used to play with George Dukas.
Yep.
and-
I did. You know, one of my favorite songs, I played with Doug Supernaw a few times, and man, that song, Reno's just
That was a
couldn't
good tune.
roll me a 7. Yes, sir.
Paul from Peoria before the Villages.
Hi, Paul from Peoria.
I couldn't carry a tune in a bucket, and you guys impressed me as geniuses because
That's
the
a stretch.
variety of what you play and the frequency with you mentioned you brought songs out from a year ago, and yet you played them to my ears flawlessly. You may have a cue to give you a script for the lyrics, but how do you know all that music without music in front of you?
For me, it's just a muscle memory. You know, it's something that once you've played something so often, your hands just have a tendency to go there. And actually, that kind of shot me in the foot because Keith does that George Strait tune. Which one did we do? Full Hearted Memory.
Full Hearted Memory.
And in the record, it's in B flat, but Keith does it in B. So more than once, my hand went to B flat instead of B. So it was like off by that much, you know.
The words and all that stuff, for me, that's always been an easy thing. Not everything in my life is easy, like golf. But learning lyrics has always been easy for me, and memorizing songs. I've a couple of times sang songs that I never sang before, but I've heard so many times. When we were messing around the other day with Highway 40 Blues, that's not kind of my thing. It's too high, but at rehearsal, I sang all the words to it and thought, wow, I didn't know I knew that song. So you get around it, so some of that happens. But yeah, I can still remember a lot of those words to those older songs. I think there's part of your brain that's what you do, I guess, you know. I don't know. I mean, doctors, my wife is way smarter than I am, and she's a pharmacist. And, you know, I can't keep any of the meds straight. And, man, she can rattle off all these medicines and all this stuff and why you got to do this and that. And, I mean, chemistry stuff.
And side effects and
man,
interactions.
How do you know? I can't remember, you know, take anything. So I guess it's all, you know, every one of you folks out there have probably done something for a living that you were all pretty good at. And you know, that's just what we do. That's all. Because I told you I suck at golf. Mike hangs around with me a lot. You know, I'll go off and forget my car. So that's where I am most of the time.
We have another Facebook question.
Yeah.
Actually, I now have two. The first one is, are you guys going to do any Rascal Flatts songs?
We actually talked about it last weekend. There's a couple of tunes that I've done before that I wouldn't mind picking back up. And I know there's a couple that I think Chris would do real well.
Yep. The thing with the band is this, for all of us. If you stay in your wheelhouse and do what you do really well, then people will like it. If you get outside of what you really do well, then it's not going to be good. So the song has to be, for me or for us, it has to be, first of all, we try to do all big songs, like number 1 songs, number 2, 3, so we know you're going to recognize the song. We don't do any album cuts and here's a song off of somebody's record that you never heard. We don't do that. Now, which guy's going to sing that song? Because who's going to fit the best? You know, well, if it's a tenor song, which Gary is in Rascal Flatts, you know, 9 chances out of 10 it's going to be Keith because he's the tenor singer. And so we decide which guy is going to sing which song best, and then you kind of go with that. And if nobody does, and it doesn't quite fit, then we don't do the song. So that's kind of the thought
Every
process.
Friday Night Live, I get at least one comment that people are surprised that all 5 of us sing or all
Yeah.
6 of us sing, you know.
Yeah.
At least one song a night every Friday Night Live.
That's what we do, is we try to let everybody sing a song. You know, everybody, it's a cool thing, man, that the band can do that. And they also can interchange stuff with usually I sing one harmony part and Keith sings the other. But if I was out, Davey could jump right in, and or Chris. people, I mean, everybody understands all that and just jump on parts.
Before we get to the next online question, we have another question in-house.
Good morning. So nice to be here with you guys. Question.
Name and where
Oh,
you're
Susan, New Jersey. Been here.
Susan from, not Susan from New Jersey.
Yeah, that's me. Charlie Daniels, how long did you play with him? And why don't you do more than just Devil Goes Down to Georgia, which is my absolute favorite. I mean, you just rock the house with that.
Well,
We do more than one Charlie Daniels song.
do. I
We
played
have so
South's
many
Gonna,
songs.
Yeah, I have played South's Gonna Do It Again so many times in my life that I just kind of, I mean, I started playing it when it came out. As far as knowing Charlie, an interesting story. I knew who he was, of course. He was my idol. And then I did a television show for a long time, and then they did one more year, and Charlie did it the year after me at TNN. And so that's where I really got to know him personally. We worked together on doing some stuff. Well, then one time I go to see him, and I'm just standing in the wings because, you know, sometimes you stand backstage, and he started Devil Went Down to Georgia. And before he started singing, you know, where it comes in, well, the devil went, he went like this, brought his band down, looks at me and goes, come here. And I'm going, what? He goes, come here. So I walk out on stage, and he hands me his fiddle and go, you play it. And he sang it. So it was like, whoa. And so I'd known him for a long time. And then I just got to be kind of personal friends with him as well. I can tell you that he passed away at 9/12, and on a Tuesday, I was in Logan, Utah at a cheese factory, and my phone rang at probably 9:15. And so pretty sad day for me. But he was an awesome man. He was, you know, I played violin in high school, which means you never had a girlfriend, never went to the prom. There was nothing cool about playing violin. But when Charlie Daniels came out, you know, he started making the violin was cool then. So.
And now you got a recurring gig at the dump.
Yeah. And now I'm the best fiddle player at the dump. I'm not going back to that damn dump since then. But I did get my truck fixed, though.
They won't let you back.
Got the shifter fixed. There was another question, Captain.
The question mentioned that Eddie had actually mentioned a doo-wop group, and they're asking if we have a doo-wop group coming.
I don't know if I'd call them a doo-wop group, but we do have Let's Hang On coming at the end of April. They're a tribute to Frankie Valli.
Is Jive Aces, what do they do?
Jive Aces is
more swing.
Swing, yeah. And then, of course, we have Edge Effect coming in, too. But they're not doo-wop by any stretch.
Doo-wop.
You know,
But
occasionally we'll
they're
have...
pretty cool, though.
Yeah, we have, you know, we'll get groups like the Vogues and
I played guitar for one of those guys.
You know, they come in and kind of, we try to get some of that in here.
One of those guys
cool
came in here
to
without a
touch on
guitar
that.
player.
Yeah,
I can't-
Letterman used to be here. Yeah.
One of those guys came in. I can't remember who it was, and I played guitar for him. I can't remember when I first came here. Anyway, yes, sir.
John.
Hi, John.
From Canada. Of all the string instruments you play, do you play the Dougie's instrument, the
Steel guitar?
steel guitar?
Say again, what was the question?
He
play
says
steel?
of all the instruments that you play, among them being the steel
I
guitar.
haven't seen you play steel. Do you?
Can
play,
I?
Bobby?
Yeah, I came here as the steel player. Yeah, Dougie was, that's how I got here. Dougie was had taken off for some reason or other. I didn't even know anything about this place. The drummer called me, and I played steel for Confederate Railroad, steel and fiddle. I didn't even play guitar. I played steel and fiddle for Confederate Railroad for about 7.5, 8 years, somewhere in there. And so when the drummer called me, I said, man, I want to come down here because I've been playing the same songs night after night for all those years. So I came down and played steel until Dougie came.
I've actually been asked before because Keith and I, when we do our blues show, we'll switch. I'll play bass and Keith will play guitar. And they've asked, well, then why doesn't Bobby and Dougie switch since Bobby plays steel? There's actually a legitimate excuse.
Yeah, there is.
The steel guitar is probably the most complex instrument you'll ever see in your life, because not only are you using both hands, you're using both feet and your knees at the same time.
Yeah, more feet and knees than anything.
It's, I mean, because there's levers for your knees and there's lever for your feet. And evidently, you can set your steel guitar up to where the pedals on the floor for your feet, you can change the order of them. Like one pedal will affect certain string. And Bobby sets his steel backwards from the way that Dougie plays. So,
and my steel guitars, every one of them that I have had made, they're like 2.5 inches higher.
Yeah,
when
taller
I sit down,
too. Yeah,
I can't get my knees underneath it. But the steel guitar itself is an interesting thing. I mean, the majority of that stuff's played. I mean, of course, your right hand's important, but if you look at their left hand, I'm not making light of it. It's just sometimes it won't even move. All the stuff that's going on, you hear all these changes and everything's all going down on underneath there, because there's so much stuff that goes on. It's a mechanical thing, and now you try to take this mechanical thing and make it sound, sweet, not like a toaster or something.
I'm going to get with Dougie for one of my, Mike, we have a question over here. For when we do the Guitar of the Week, I'm going to get with Dougie, and we're going to feature the steel guitar for a Guitar of the Week, and I'm going to ask Doug to explain exactly how all that stuff works. And it may be a long one.
So that excuse is kind of invalid, because, Bobby, you could always bring in one of your steel guitars.
It's not invalid because steel guitars take forever to set up.
Yeah, and they're too dang heavy, man.
So it started, just to give you a quick thing about it, is, it was a Hawaiian guitar first. And it played, just laid in your lap. Then I don't want to get way off in the weeds, because that guitar led to the electric guitar. And that's another story. But they found they couldn't, you're pretty limited with it, because guys got fingers that could do all this stuff. And they could, well, then guys started pulling strings with their fingers to try to get different notes. And the first idea was a guy said, well, I'm going to do something with my foot. So they put a rod underneath the guitar that went up, hooked over a string, and he pushed on it with his foot, and it pulls your string. And I mean, that's kind of a cheap shot of it. And that started it. And then it became, well, let's put another rod. Let's put another rod. Well, we're out of rods. Well, let's put knee levers underneath there, because your knees move back and forth. There's 2 bars that sit like this right between your legs in here, like on both sides of your leg. And if you push it this way, it does one thing, and you push it that way. And then I have one that you push up this way. So it's all crazy stuff with your feet. And no guitar. I mean, some of them are, but Dougie and I guitar are set up completely different. So he's very good. So I would presume he could sit down and get something out of mine. I'd probably be not sounding so good on his. Yes, sir.
I've heard a lot of songwriters, successful songwriters, talk about how they can write a song in 10 minutes. My favorite song in this venue is the one that you wrote called Music Man.
Yeah.
And I'd like to know, how long did it take you to write that song, and was it in intervals, or did you do it straight through?
Just straight through. I was sitting one night, woke up in the middle of the night, just did that. Just sat down and started messing around with it. But some songs come like that. Some songs come easy. Some songs don't. Dolly Parton said she wrote 9 to 5 in 45 minutes. Some songs, I believe that being a songwriter, every one of you people in this auditorium and on Facebook, you could all write a song. It's not that hard. Sit down and just start making up a bunch of words. But is it a good song is the question. And I believe that those people, that are songwriters much more gifted than I believe that's like singing. It's a gift. Davey can take you in the back room, and you can sit back there for about a year if you've never played guitar in your life, and you can come out of there in a year and be able to play guitar. But if you can't sing, you can sit back there for 20 years, and you come back, you can't sing, because it's some physical gift, I think. And I think songwriting is like that too. With my mom was a comedian and wrote jokes and wrote songs, cute little songs and stuff. It's a different kind of thing, because everybody can make up songs like you can make up poems. but not everybody's a songwriter. You know, that's my sense. Yes, sir.
One other steel guitar question. You have 2 bars. There's 2 rows of strings.
Yep.
He never, ever, ever, ever plays that lower row.
Well, once in a while he
They're
does.
tuned different.
Yeah.
It's the one that's on the outside is tuned to an E9 chord, and E is real prevalent in modern country, and 90% of the music that we do is in a relative key to E, or that where he can work around it. The other neck is tuned to a C6 chord, which is more of a jazz swing kind of tuning. So, and we don't do a lot of that, so consequently, he doesn't play a lot of that. If we did more like Western swing and stuff, the C6 neck is definitely the neck for that. But
E9th neck is more. It's what
commercial.
It's what came on first. You know, that's what they played with because it started with the tuning, and then they, you know, you can. The thing about the steel guitar, you can take your left hand off of it, and you can play, like, you know how you play chords on a guitar. You can play 3 or 4 chords without ever using your left hand, just different configurations
Groups
of where
of
the
strings.
strings are and different pedal things. So the back neck, the steel guitar thing always says the front neck will take you to Kroger's, and the back neck will take you to the steel guitar convention because it's kind of a jazzy sort of thing. You know, it's I don't know. It's a difference between me and a Telecaster and a Gretsch.
Yeah, I mean, there's different guitars do different things like that. And another thing that if you ever get a chance to look real close at a steel guitar, a traditional guitar like Bobby and I play have 6 strings. Steel guitar has 10 strings per neck, and I've seen them up with 12 strings.
14 one.
Yeah.
Zane guy made. But if you think about a harpsichord, about playing different configurations, if you think about a piano, you know, all those strings, if you hit them all at once, there's nothing. But if you pick out different configurations of strings is where you get your chords. That's what the steel guitar is. Because I play, you know, like, like strings. 10, 8, and 6 is one chord. 6, 8, and 10, the 3, 4, and 5. And then if I played this chord, 3, 4, and 5, I push this pedal down, it's going to go to that chord. And I push this pedal down, it's going to go to that chord, all not doing anything except moving all the mechanics.
There's a lot to it.
Yeah, it's really complicated.
You're constantly retuning when you change guitars, and I can't hear it. How do you know what you're playing needs to be?
Because I look over at Keith Horn and he's giving me that look.
Yeah.
He's giving me that stink
We'll
eye.
hear that note going. Where'd that come from?
Keith Horn looks over at me and gives me that look.
It's got a lot better since we put the new stage in, but guitars obviously are made of wood, and wood flexes with different temperatures. And if you're holding a guitar and you're playing it, it actually warms the wood of the guitar somewhat, so it'll settle into a tuning. But if you put it down for a set period of time, especially if there's an air conditioner vent right over the top of you,
that's what mine is.
that guitar will shock up, and the tuning of it will just go completely.
You can see where the vent is up there, so my guitar's set right there. They're a little bit moved over a little bit more. But
like I said, it's gotten a lot better since the new stage has been in.
New stage is a lot better. If we could have our big time show, you know, they have guys
that
tune your guitar
backstage.
for you. Yeah, tune it and bring it to you and do all that stuff. But we're not quite there yet. Roger, we'll hit Roger with that next year.
Yeah, there you go.
We need a guitar tech, damn it. Yes, sir.
John again from
Yes,
Canada.
sir.
There are a lot of people use humidification for their guitars and keep them humid to go. And Gordon Lightfoot was one that had 12 guitars, and he watched after his guitars and kept them humid. How do you store yours in this humid climate and keep them in good shape?
Well, fortunately, it is super humid down here already, so the guitars are already acclimatized.
They don't dry out,
yeah. Now, when I was in Ohio, I actually had a really valuable acoustic guitar that I had hung on the wall, and I'd play it at home, and it dried out, and the top just went and split open, just sitting on the wall because I didn't have the humidity up. In a higher humidity climate, the guitars will acclimate a lot better than they do when it's dry. You have to keep a certain amount of moisture. Now, there is such thing as too much humidity, but in a what they call a climate-controlled building like this one is, it stays pretty relative. You don't really have to focus too much on it as long as you have decent air conditioning.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I left a guitar under the bed at my mom's house. And it was under there for like 10 years or something. And when I got to drag that out, I drag it out, same thing. That it had folded in like this, and the bridge had popped off the back just from sitting too long. But I think all of our guitars, we play most of our guitars, and we're around most of them. We have, Davey's a really good guitar tech, a real good guy for fixing things. And we have another guy that works with us, JR. He's not a very nice guy, but he works on all of our guitars and keeps us up and going. So we don't have a guitar tech speak like the tour bands have, but we kind of have two techs that just kind of do it.
Keep the guitars in
keep
shape.
It up going and fixing this. Hey, Dave, this isn't working. I give him my guitar, and he fixes it up. You got to have a guy like that around.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Eddie, they say that, what do you have up there now? His album of the week.
Yeah, well, this is really, really cool. Sometimes memorabilia comes along and it just stops you in your tracks. Alan Jackson has been that one star, other than George Jones, that I have bought every single thing Alan Jackson's ever done. You can say what you want about Garth and George. Alan Jackson is the real deal. He writes his songs.
Yep.
He sings great songs. He's real country. And got to give kudos to Roger and Donna. Went to see him on this farewell tour, and they got really good VIP seats. And they gave me that frame with the backstage pass. And what Alan did for you on that VIP seats, you can see that crystal that's on top of that. That is a signed ticket from Alan Jackson with your seat number in there. Blew me away, and they bought two of those VIP things, and he gave me that, and I was like in tears, man.
Wow,
that's pretty special.
That
and
is
of course,
awesome.
The other thing is I got my little autographed Gary Puckett and Unigaff 45 of a Lady Willpower.
And that was Roger Garrett, not Roger Byers, correct?
Oh, correct, Roger Byers, Albert Garrett.
Roger
You
Garrett.
know, Roger,
Lord.
Donna,
his fiance,
his fiance, actually sings really good, and. I've not been able to get her to sing. I always ask her to sing. No, I don't want to sing. I say, but you sing really good. I don't want. So she finally the other day, Roger said, I think Donna may want to sing a song with you guys. Maybe sing a song.
That would be great.
So maybe we'll get Donna to sing because she actually
awesome.
sings real good. She's real good. Yes, sir. Question, Captain Kurt.
This question is from YouTube, from Karen. She wants to know: does anybody play the auto harp?
Why,
Everybody plays the auto harp.
Yeah.
No, the auto harp is a tuned to what are called open chords, where you just strum it and it makes the chord by pressing the appropriate button. But as far as like with the band, no, nobody plays.
Well, the auto harp does the opposite of like a piano. You strike strings. This harp, you pluck strings. But the auto harp, you push these buttons and it mutes the strings and then lets the strings, so if you just say D, it mutes all the other notes that are not D, so you play it. So you have to play an auto harp. I don't know why the hell they play it up like this, but those buttons that have chords on it, do they not? Mm-hmm. They don't make the chord of D, they mute the other things. It works kind of
the strings have all the notes. I mean, I not giving away a bunch of secrets, but there are only 12 notes.
Yeah, in the scale, right?
Yeah, in the scale. So the auto harp has every note, and then the buttons, like Bobby says, will mute the notes that are not used in a particular chord, so that the strings in that chord will ring out.
The opposite of striking notes that we were talking about the steel or the piano or this harp, you strike those notes, where the auto harp works the opposite way. It blocks all the notes and then just lets the ones ring. It's kind of weird.
Well, we're running out of time awfully quick, and I want to get back to business at hand. Here's something that, stepping back to Sunday, it was just announced that Dr. Carl's actually coming back this year. He will be back on August 8th for one show. So if you didn't get your John Denver fix, you can
Get some
it,
more.
Get it on August 8th with Dr. Carl. Tickets are not on sale yet, but they will be soon. And if you download our Orange Blossom Opry app,
Yep.
you can download the Orange Blossom Opry app for free on any of your app platforms. You can see exactly when those tickets go on sale and buy the tickets right there on the app, and then watch the replay of this show.
If you would like.
Yeah.
This Sunday, April 6th, first time here, it's Surfin', they're called Surfin' Beach Boys Tribute. There's a tribute to the Beach Boys that'll be here on Sunday. First time they've ever been here. There's still a few tickets available for that. Let's Hang On, you all know those. You can find all this information, of course, on at your app if you put down the app. John Conley will be here, excited about that. The Everly Brothers Experience, those guys will be here. They're awesome. Friday Night Live starting again. Also, we have all kinds of new merch. You can get cowbells. Why would you want to buy those things? But cowbells, polos, T-shirts.
Charlene was really
umbrellas.
happy with the new refrigerator magnets we have. We have refrigerator magnets with pictures of us on
Can
them.
I tell you something? This is you know, where's Mike? I'm such a what's the word? I look like a freak. I can't have anything. It's got to be like this. I drive
He's
my wife.
OCD.
I drive my wife crazy. I have to everything. I cleaned all day the tack room yesterday. I can't stand stuff on the refrigerator, y'all. So you buy those refrigerator magnets, and those of you that have got any kind of metal things in your body, you can just stick them right to your body. Just like if you got a metal plate in your
think they
head,
have
like Mike
medication
does,
for that.
just put it right on your head and walk around with it. I guess refrigerator magnets are still popular, but they put stuff on the refrigerator.
Yeah.
You spend as much money as I did for a refrigerator, and then you're gonna don't do that. But
You
we
know-
have what are on the magnets? Us?
Yeah, it's the band.
Well, then there's an exception. Then put us on your refrigerator. Dang it. There you
But you know, one thing I did learn is that those refrigerator magnets don't stick to stainless steel refrigerators.
go. Yeah, well, there you go. Maybe it's for the old ones. Well, that's okay. Anyway, so that's going on. I saw some of the new shirts, some very cool colors. I think Heather does that. It was awesome. Picked out cool colors. You know, our buddy George Trillinger will be here, variety show. That's in May. Live and Let Die will be here again. They're good. Here's something that I'm excited about because End of the Innocents is going to be here. And that dude, one of the dudes, two of the dudes that are, I hate to use the word dudes, two of the guys in that band were in Hotel California years ago. The bass player's named Scott and the guitar player's named Steve, and those guys are awesome. And they're in this band called End of the Innocents. So I'm really excited to see them, which looks like that's on March 17th. Yes, sir. Couple minutes yet. Go.
Terry of Summerfield. Will you be doing another CD with the Music Man on
Well,
it?
you know what? Dangerous. We've been asked so many times to do that, and we've been so busy. Maybe this summer we could, because if each guy went in and recorded 2 songs, we'd have a CD. It'd be like that, bang, we'd have 12 songs. So we've been asked about it so many times. Maybe we could try to make that happen. The only reason we haven't is that takes time, and we've been so busy. So
Don't really have time.
yeah, maybe we'll look on that this summer sometime and try to get a CD out.
But you had a CD of just you.
Yeah, I did my own CD. I don't know that I'll do that anymore. If I do anything, I'll do something that would be part of the band. We would all do it together.
And does Dave play the steel?
I do not, because I'm left-handed, and I've played guitar since I was 9, and I'm 55 now. So since I played guitar, my entire career, I have actually, with my own eyes, only seen 2 left-handed pedal steel guitars. So, and they're extremely expensive. And when I say they're extremely expensive, that's crazy because I have no problem spending $3,000 on a guitar. And when I have no problem, and I say expensive
every other week.
and when I say they're expensive, trust me, they started between $7,000 and $10,000.
right up there about
So
10.
I mean, you could buy a nice car for the price of a pedal steel,
And if you're just starting and you spend $10,000, there's no guarantee that you're
going to be any good.
First time you got to move it, yeah.
Yeah.
And then if you got to move it, the thing weighs 2,000 pounds, I think.
See, when the cool thing about when I was in Confederate Railroad, somebody did all that for me. I just walked out on stage. It was set up. This guy set it up, did all that stuff. Man, playing the steel guitar runs second to the drums. Because you're the guy that, if you're playing gigs where you move around, bars and stuff like that, the drummer's the worst. You got to get there before everybody else. You're the first guy in, the last guy out. But steel guitar runs a close second.
And Micah, the drummer from Diamond Rio, his new drums are made of solid copper.
Oh, God.
So those things got to weigh 1,000 pounds.
They were not light by any means.
Yeah. Hey, if you are a fan of Diamond Rio, I'd ask that you keep our buddy Jimmy Olander in your prayers. Jimmy's got a couple little health issues going on. I think it's either today, Tuesday. I don't think he'd do it on April Fool's Day, or Thursday.
I think it's Thursday, yeah.
So I think it's Thursday. So if you're a Diamond Rio fan, and even if you're not, keep Jimmy in your prayers, because he's a good fella. Good fella. I think we're winding down, everybody. Lots of stuff going on here still at the Orange Blossom Opry. I know, what is it? Today's the 1st of April, and usually we start winding down, but we're going wide open through April and pretty wide open most of May. So get your app, check out the shows, come see us at the Orange Blossom Opry. We're fixing to get out of here unless we got any other questions. You all have a good time. How many people? Hey, there's Nathan Smith showing up. How about that? Better late than never.
Yeah,
Nathan
don't forget, starting April 28th, that we will be going back to the band's Friday Night Lives every Friday. So make sure and get your tickets.
Well, a lot of them are sold out already, but get on out there, look at the tickets in advance, and come and see us, because that's a lot of fun. We're going to run. God bless y'all. Thank you for coming. Come see us at the Orange Blossom Opry, y'all out there. You'll be glad you did.